Live from the RTPR studio, it's time for One-on-One with Belle. In today's episode, Belle interviews one of the most storied owners in the Roblox theme park community. With his focus being on different experiences in the Disney parks, this is sure to be a great one. Let's send it on down to Belle.
So for today's guest, we have the Honorable, I hope I'm saying this right, Garrelli.
That's correct, yes.
Great to meet you. This is surprisingly the first time I've ever spoken to you despite our storied history together. So how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Had a lot going on recently, especially with Wishes opening last night. It's been a busy week for me.
I see, Wishes. How'd that show go for you last night for its debut?
Still a couple of kinks to work out, but it went pretty good for the most part.
That is pretty good. That's great to hear. To start off, just tell me about yourself, who you are, and what you do on Roblox.
So I'm Garrelli. You did say that right. A lot of people ask me where I got the name from. Not too great of a story. I got it from a random username generator. A lot of people have mispronounced it over the years. I've gotten Gravel is probably the weirdest one. People call me Gravel a lot. But yeah, I started developing about 7 years ago. It started off just about how most people do, where you're just putting whatever free models you can into a place and thinking it's something really cool. And then I decided to start actually building things and doing my own thing, that's about when I started TFP. It was June of 2015. I just kind of grew up going to Disney World and fell in love with it from a young age. And so I always wanted to do something that I like doing as far as development. And so when I wanted to start building something of my own, Disney was the first thing that came to mind. And I just kind of took it and ran from there.
That is great to hear. So it sounds like you've already had a pre-established history with the Walt Disney World Resort before you even started working on that project in Roblox, if I'm correct.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Basically, you already answered my next question, but it's like, why did you start a Florida project? What motivated you specifically about Walt Disney World to start this group on the site?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I just kind of grew up going. I was going about once a year. And then when I started developing, I needed something I needed to work on, and Disney came to mind. And then in the back of my mind, it's always like, well, if I do this, a lot more people will get to experience Disney. And so along with building it, I wanted to build it as realistic as I could, so that people can have a realistic experience when they go and join our game. And so that's always kind of been one of the big ideas behind TFP is making a really realistic experience for all the users.
That's great to hear. My next question for you is, how did you discover Roblox?
I figured you'd probably ask that, and I have no clue.
No idea.
It's been a long time ago. I know I had an account in 2012, forgot the password to that, and so I had to make a new one in I think it was February 2013, which is what this one is. So I don't remember finding Roblox or how I got into it. I just know that I did somehow.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite attraction or feature at the Walt Disney World Resort in real life?
In real life, it's got to be Rock and Roller Coaster. That's always been my favorite. I remember the first time I ever rode it, the morning of, being super excited to finally get to ride it, being tall enough. And I remember both my older brothers were trying to tell me about how scary and just how terrified I was going to be on it. But I was ready for it. It was really the first roller coaster. When I was younger, I used to be scared of roller coasters, but it was the first one I ever did that I was really excited to be on.
Mhm.
And so from that, like I started to enjoy roller coasters more and more. And it's also kind of where I really love Aerosmith, and that comes from Rock and Roller Coaster. So anything Aerosmith, I'm all for. But yeah, definitely Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay, roller coaster. That's such a great choice. I guess segue to the next question is, what is your favorite of the four parks at the Walt Disney World Resort?
Uh, oh, that's a tough one. I love Hollywood Studios. It's a lot of fun. It's probably where I have the most fun, but I got to go with the classic, the Magic Kingdom. There's just something about it that just puts it above everything. You can't beat Magic Kingdom.
No, Magic Kingdom is it's our version of Disneyland here at the Walt Disney World Resort, so that's understandable. Um, What would you say is your favorite project that you have worked on Roblox?
It is definitely Wishes. Wishes, that's the fireworks show I grew up with when I was younger. I remember watching it for the last time. I cried, not gonna lie. It was super upsetting, and then they replaced it with Happily Ever After. That just never felt the same to me. The soundtrack didn't feel as unique and original. It was cool with the new fire, excuse me, castle protections on the that they did. But the fireworks, they didn't seem as good, and the soundtrack definitely. And now with Enchantment, it's a step below Happily Ever After was. So just nothing ever felt the same like Wishes to me, and it's got the nostalgia. It's definitely the project I spent the most time on. It's also the first time people are actually being able to see uh, the castle and parts of Main Street that we've done publicly, and so Wishes has definitely been my favorite thing I've worked on so far.
How would you say the Roblox theme park community has changed and evolved ever since you started on the site?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, it's changed a lot. When I first started, I was kind of just doing my own thing. I didn't know there was a community for a long time. And then I ran into Exosite in a game, and he was the first person that actually noticed my work. So the two of us kind of worked for a while, and the more I got to know him, he was friends with the people at DCP back in the day. So I got to know it. I got to know those people over there, and I got more involved in the Disney community, and it's really changed a lot. It used to be a lot of toxicity and head to head, like who can be the best, and uh, it was a lot of rivalry going on. But that's really changed over the years. Everything's kind of calmed down. There's not too much of uh, there's not really as much toxicity going around like there used to. Everyone's really getting along for the most part, and I try to really emphasize that with my group nowadays. We try to just kind of stay separated from everyone, do our own thing, and just kind of stay away from any types of drama or toxicity that could come from anywhere. But overall, that's gotten a lot better since 6 years ago when I first started doing this, and it's looking bright for the future.
Oh, that's great to hear. Have you worked on any theme park or Disney related projects outside of Roblox?
So I was a cast member on a Minecraft Disney server, MC Parks. It's kind of a big one. But I was a cast member there. Started off college program, worked my way up to cast member, then I worked my way up to guest relations, which is like the highest rank you can get before becoming an executive. But I worked there for a long time, and it was a pretty realistic cast member experience as you can get for a video game. Um, but yeah, I love doing it. I loved working with the guests and helping all the guests have a fun time. I actually invented a mini game we did called Treasure Hunt, where I would just hide one of the items from the shop somewhere, and I'd give guests hints to go find it, and that was a big hit. So, but yeah, working there was a lot of fun. It was a great experience.
Oh, that sounds like quite the experience, especially like you said for a video game. Um, do you have someone you look up to as a role model in the Roblox theme park community at all?
Uh, I kind of try to do my own thing and do what I can do for my own group. So I've never really uh had the chance to look up to someone. I kind of taught myself everything I know. Um, I didn't have to take any tutorials or anything. I got in a studio and figured it all out myself, and I think that's a really great way to learn how to do things. Because you develop your own way of how you build, and it adds your own sort of uniqueness to your building style. So I when I like I said earlier when I started, I didn't know anyone in the Disney community. I just kind of did my own thing. So I just developed my own way of doing things from an early standpoint.
Okay. Um, Next is what's next for you and what's next for your group regarding Roblox?
So first, I'll start with next for me. So I've really been getting into coding and UIs a lot recently. There was a lot of coding that went into Wishes, thousands of lines of code. I've been getting into that and learning more on how to code really, and I've been able to be more creative, and I can implement things how I want them to be in the parks now. So really a lot of more interactive features I'm able to do now. So that's going to be what's next for TFP is more interactivity, shops, food. We're working on an inventory system right now, so that's going to be that's a challenge definitely. But we're definitely working on a lot more interactive things to implement.
Okay. What advice do you have for up and coming developers who hope to make waves into the theme park community, be it both either in Disney, Universal, or just anything related to theme parks?
Do something you love doing. I started off with Disney World. That's what I loved, and that's how I've been able to do it for 7 years because it's something I love doing. Becoming a developer it's a tough task. It's a lot of work, especially when you're the head of a group. So there's a lot of responsibility on you. So, but if you pick something you love doing and that you have an infatuation for, you'll find it a lot more enjoyable, and you'll do a lot more for yourself.
And then lastly, what advice do you have for Roblox developer groups who have a problem keeping their members from slacking off on issues or causing drama with other groups, or just working on a project and being dedicated to a goal? How does a group, up and coming, or just a group even in modern day, just stay together, fixated on a track and succeed?
So there's always going to be people that have a hard time of staying focused, and but I try to emphasize staying within our own group and doing our own thing. One of my big things is I don't hire people that currently work on other Disney World projects specifically. I feel like that adds a lot of uniqueness to your own group, whereas if you have someone that's working on the same thing in different parks, it's going to be the same between groups, which I'm not much of a fan of. So I like having people only working for one Disney World project, and it really saves a lot of drama too. You're always going to have something going on, something new comes up just out of nowhere, but sticking within your own group and staying unique, I think, is a big part of being able to keep your group safe from any sorts of drama or issues that you might see in the future.
That is some pretty solid advice. Well, thank you for being our first guest on the show today. It was an honor meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad I got to be here.
We're looking forward to what you and your group have to reveal to everybody in the future, because I believe it'll make waves in the Roblox community. So,
yeah, thank you very much.
Of course. And thank you everyone for watching. Please check out our socials, which are linked in the description below, and stay tuned for whatever guests we have next. We might feature more people from CFP, more from other Disney groups, and just theme park groups in general. So thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.